first Michelin Star restaurant in the history of Cardiff. So I'm getting a bit emotional. When you're there and you're in the room and they call, Michelin Star goes to Gorse in Cardiff, there's no feeling like it. It means the world that we were the first to get it. I'm Tom Waters from Gorse in Cardiff. Today I'm taking you behind the past to cook a few dishes that sort of emphasise our seasonality, our attention to detail, and the reason why we were the first restaurant in Cardiff to reach the heights of Michelin Star. We're going to cook a snack from our current dinner menu, Bara Brith, which we're going to just toast in a pan with some mature Caws Cerwyn, some pickled walnut and some Welsh truffle. So we've just taken the Bara Brith that we made earlier, and we're just going to colour it off in a pan. So the objective is here that we have a nice crispy exterior and then still quite soft in the middle. A mature Caws Cerwyn, a nice little spreading of that on top. And pickled walnut puree. So that's basically pickled walnuts, which have been cooked in some caramel and a little bit of apple juice. And just to top that off, we have some Welsh truffle. So people don't necessarily think of truffle when they think of Wales, but pipe a little bit of pickled walnut puree onto the bottom, and there we have it. Today we're going to cook a lovely piece of fallow deer from Breconshire. First up, we're going to prep our deer. This is a lovely fallow deer from Breconshire with some lovely fat coverage. So we get that from the Welsh Venison Centre in Brecon. So that's run by Andrew, Elaine and Megan, so good friends of ours. We don't serve too much meat on the menu at Gorse, so what we do serve is either going to be of like extraordinarily high quality or wild game, especially we love, so like venison, pheasants. Gorse is all about putting the best of Wales in this room, whether that's on the plate, whether that's on the walls, the physical plates themselves, the drinks. So it's a puree which we set with Gelan F, and it's based around some really beautiful beetroot juice. So we work with an organic farmer in Abergavenny called Pavel. Grows amazing beetroots, so we tend to have beetroot on all year round in some form. To set it, we add some Gelan F at a 1% ratio. Whisk very well to combine. And we just bring it to a boil. We just pour it into a container and then just leave it to set. And like I said, the handy thing about using Gelan to do this sort of setting is that it sets at room temperature, so you don't need to put it in the fridge. It'll set in about 20 minutes, and then you can blend it when it's nice and warm then. Okay, so another really important part is pickled bilberry gel. So similar process to the beetroot in the sense that we're going to gel it with Gelan F and then blend it back. So bilberry is very sort of staple Welsh ingredient. They grow in very mountainous regions, so these ones from the Brecon Beacons. Well, then we're just going to pour it off into a container to leave to set at room temperature. Venison is a very lean meat, so whenever we cook it here at Gorse, we always like to rest it in a lot of fat just to make sure it doesn't dry out. Also, it incorporates a touch more flavour. So what we have here is some butter, and we're just going to toast a mixture of some smoked Penya white peppercorns, some black votificiperi peppercorns, and some juniper berries. So just going to toast those to release a few of the aromas or aromatic oils, and then we're going to cook it in our butter to infuse. And then when that's infused, we're going to cool it down slightly, and then we're going to cook and rest our venison in that butter. Okay, so here we have our beetroot. So this has been out setting for about half an hour, 25 minutes. And as you can see, it sets very firm at room temperature. So now all we need to do is blend it until it's nice and smooth. The good thing about using Gelan as well is you can blend it till it's almost quite a loose puree, but because of the Gelan, it holds itself on the plate. So what we're going to do now is pass that through a chinois. We're going to season it with our gas streaks, so our reduction of some red wine, some port and some vinegar. And we're going to run it through the vat pack machine to remove the air and make it super smooth then for service. So here we have our spice butter, which has been cooking for around 25 to 30 minutes. It's just started to sort of self-clarify slightly, which is what we want. So now we're just going to pass that through a muslin, leaving behind all our infused spices. And now it's time to cook our saddle of venison. So we're just going to get our pan ripping hot. We're going to season our venison quite liberally with just fine salt. And we're going to go in with our venison. And we're going to move it very quickly around the pan. Just keep it moving, just so all the heat spreads nice and evenly. We're looking for a really deep caramelization, but a very quick caramelization. So once we get that super hot there, we're just going to take it off the heat, add a touch of butter into our pan, and we're going to continue to roll that venison around that butter. We're going to baste it, keep it nice and enough fats or just to moisten it, not to let it dry out. We're just going to remove that from the pan onto a tray. We're going to pour that butter back over the top. I'm just going to drop it into our oven there, where it'll cook for around 3 minutes. Just going to give it a nice roll around in that butter just to let it rest there. And yeah, so it doesn't dry out, and it also takes on a bit of that sort of pepper juniper flavour. Our venison has been resting now for around 5 to 6 minutes in our spiced butter. So now we're just going to start to assemble the dish. So we're going to start by carving, and we're going to season that with one of our favourite ingredients here at Gorse, just some Hallan Morn sea salt from Anglesey. Okay, so we're going to start by just putting some of our lovely spiced beetroot puree on the plate. So next up comes our piece of venison. So that goes at 3 o'clock on the plate there. And then next we're just going to put some of our pickled bilberry gel. We just got some of our Brussels sprouts and our wild black mustard, which we're just going to finish with a touch of our dressing, which is made out of some Glodina rapeseed oil and some kelp vinegar. So now we're just going to finish with our Brussels sprouts, a few leaves of our wild black mustard just to go on the top there, lending a little bit more pepperiness. We're just going to finish it off now with a sauce made out of the venison bones. Just finished with some lemon thyme, some more of the smoked white Pena pepper and Votis viperi pepper, and then a few pickled elderberries from last summer. Here you have our roasted saddle of Breconshire fallow deer with some beetroot, pickled bilberries and Brussels sprouts. We didn't expect to get the star after only 8 months of being open. I think we always thought we would get a star at some point, but maybe not that quickly. We sort of think, I mean, we've only just started scratching the surface of what we can do. So it's just about pushing that as far as we can take it here and try and create something like really world class. Next dish we're going to show you is a wild bass dish. So we get plenty of bass landed in West Wales. So this one is landed in Milford Haven. So what we're going to do is break that down, cure it very lightly in some salt, and then we're going to wrap each piece of belly and each piece of loin in some kelp. So now we're just going to take some nice thin slices. So I always check the flavour on the first one. So super fatty, lovely, gentle cure on it, just to firm the texture up. In Wales, we have a big history of using marigolds. The marigold we're going to use today is a little bit of apple marigold. So what we do with this is we take the whole leaves and we just use a pestle and mortar, and we sort of grind them in a pestle and mortar to form a very smooth paste with a touch of Hallan Morn sea salt, some Glodina rapeseed oil, and our homemade quince vinegar. So we were very fortunate that we had a gentleman come by and drop off quite a lot of quince from his tree in Pontcanna, where we're situated. So we use it to make a very vibrant vinegar, which we're going to use on this dish. So in the base of the bowl there, we're going to start off with some smoked cream. And we're just going to place our bass gently on top of our smoked cream. Next up, we have a little reduction of quince. So all the quince trimmings and quince juice. Next, a few, 7 to be exact, toasted coriander seeds. Just going to give you a little pop of citrus, a little encapsulation of flavour. And we're just going to finish that off with our quince itself. So with this quince, we just cook it very gently, 64 degrees, in a little bit of very light stock syrup and some ascorbic acid. So this is going to give you the freshness in the dish. And there we have our wild bass from Milford Haven with some smoked cream, quince and marigolds. We're going to plate a dessert that's been on the menu for quite a while now, actually, since last January. It's one that we absolutely love, and it's actually based on an old historical Welsh dish. So this is a toasted Oat Llymru with some smoked cherry jam and some apple caramel. Right in the bottom of the bowl here, we're going with our smoked cherry jam. We make a big batch of cherry jam in the summer and smoke it over juniper. Next up, we have a little oat cream. So we're just going to dot that just around the cherry. So it's made of toasted oats infused into some cream. And that is topped with our toasted oat custard. It's sort of similar to a freestanding creme brulee. So the idea behind is basically during oat harvests, there were a lot of husks left over traditionally. So the people used to steep them in milk to preserve milk, and it would sort of turn into this blancmange sort of texture, similar to a custard or similar to Angel Delight, I suppose. So we reimagined it very slightly into sort of a more unctuous custard, similar to a creme caramel almost. We're just going to finish that off here with a caramel that's been made out of some juiced topaz apples from the same organic farmers we got the beetroots, some Madeira, and then a caramel. And then just to finish the whole dish off here, we have some really floral, fragrant black currant wood oil, where we take black currant wood branches, smash them up with a hammer and infuse them in some oil. So it releases this very fragrant summer aroma in the depths of winter. There we have our toasted Oat Llymru with some smoked cherry jam and apple caramel. I think as I get older, the thing I really prize in going out to eat somewhere is a sense of time and place and a sense of uniqueness about it. I think that's something that we really strive for here, is trying not to take too much inspiration from other places and try and focus on, okay, what have we got that's in season right now on our doorstep? We wanted to sort of take all that and create something very Welsh, very of this time and place.